The Ant and the Cricket, adapted from Aesop's Fables. Ant kan ti chu fanghmir ania, cricket kan ti chu cow kan ti ho hi ani. And this poem is about a desperate and silly cricket and a miserly ant. Umzia chu cow a ve tak ho ve tak pakhat le fanghmir inren thiam deuh te pahnih chungchang an thon thu ani. A silly young cricket, accustomed to sing through the warm, sunny months of gay summer and spring, began to complain when he found that, at home, his cupboard was empty and winter has come. Now, the first stanza, it means that there is a young, silly cricket who loved to sing and dance during the months of spring and summer. And while the young cricket, the young silly cricket, was busy dancing and singing day and night, the ants were busy working, stocking up their food and water, preparing for the winter. But the silly young cricket had no idea that he had to stock food and water for the winter. And then when winter came, the cricket at his home, he opened his cupboard to search for food to eat because he was hungry. But he found out that he had not stocked up any food or water. And so when the winter has finally arrived, he had no food to eat and no water to drink. Omzia chu cow ho ve tak a ve tak pakhat hi hian zai le lam nuam ati em em ani. Spring and summer chu ke ni Indian season anga chuan nipui kan tiang hi ni. Nipui lai chuan he cow ho ve tak a ve tak chu ni tin zing le zan zing chun zan in alamin azai thin ani a chan chu nipui kha nuam ati em awangin chuan nipui lai chuan kan hriat vek angin thlai na te atama tui te pawh atam ani chuan he cow la naupang ve tak la a ve tak hianin nipui ani reng dawn emaw ati a chuan chutia ei le bar a harsat na nipui laia ei le bar a harsat na a nei lo chu thlasik a lo thlen hunah pawh chutiang reng turah chuan a ngai a fanghmir fing tak tak taima tak tak te an ei le bar tur an lo chhek khawl ṭeuh ṭeuh lai khanin he cow la naupang ve tak a ve tak hian tihna chang a hri ve lova chuan engmah a ei tur ang te kha a lo dah ṭha lova a lo chhek khawl lova chuan thlasik a lo thleng ta a chuan he cow la naupang ve tak la a ve tak chuan ei tur reng reng kha lo nei lova a chan chu nipui lai khanin thlasika a ei le in tur ang te kha lo dah that ve na chang a hriat lo awangin maw. Not a crumb to be found on the snow-covered ground, not a flower could he see, not a leaf on a tree. "Oh, what will become," says the cricket, "of me?" And so in this stanza, since winter has finally arrived, and we all know that in winter no flowers can bloom nor leaves are green, every plant or every leaf tends to die because of the cold weather. So this cricket, since he had not stocked up any food, he went out in search of food and water outside. But during the winter, because of the heavy snowfall, the ground was heavily covered in snow. And so when he searched for food looking around for flowers or leaves to eat. He couldn't find any flowers or leaves to eat because during the winter all the flowers and leaves have already died. And then the cricket said to himself, "Oh, what will happen then? I have nothing to eat. What is going to happen to me?" Chuan hemi stanza ah chuan chutia khasik alo thlen tak meu chuan he khau naupang ve tak ve tak chuan a ei tur engmah a chhek khawl lo awang khanin pawn lamah a in pawn lamah khan chhuakin chhuatah te enge chhangnawi te alo awm takin tite pangpar ei tur te maw hnim hnah ei tur te zawng khan a chhuak ani mahse kan hriat ṭheuh angin classic ah chuan pangpar te a vul thei lova hnim hnah te pawh a vul thei lova khawl vawt lutuk awang khanin an thi thin ani maw hnah thel te hei thingkung hnah te pawh a rawn tlak thin hi classic lai chuan chutia ei tur engmah a hmuh tak lo ah chuanin engti nge ka awm tak ang ei tur ka nei reng reng si lova ka chungah enge thleng ta ang ka tihna nih chu. And then in the third stanza, at last, by starvation and famine made bold, all dripping with wet and all trembling with cold, away he set off to a miserly ant, to see if, to keep him alive, he would grant him shelter from rain and a mouthful of grain. He wished only to borrow, he'd repay it tomorrow. If not, he must die of starvation and sorrow. Starvation chu ril tram tina nia, famine chu tram ani chu. Chuan trembling chu khur vot ti wanga kan khur ang hi tina ni chu. Chuan miserly chu kan soito ang khan mi in ren thiam tak kan tina mo miserly chu. Chuan grain chu ei tur ani tihna nia chuan shelter chu awmna hmun tihna ni chuan borrow chu puk tir tihna nia chuan hetah a last stanza ah a tawpna berah sorrow tih chu lungaihna kan tih ang hi ni. So in this stanza the young cricket, since he had no food to eat or water to drink, he was hungry, and because of the cold weather and because he was standing outside in the cold, he was wet due to the cold weather, and also due to the cold weather he was shivering. And so since he had nothing to eat and he was so hungry, he thought an idea came to him and thought, "I must go to the ant, to the miserly ant, to ask for help, to see if he would be able to help me, uh, give me shelter from the rain, to give me a mouthful of grain, and I will tell him if he would be allowed to let me borrow some grain, and that I would be able to repay it tomorrow." That is what the cricket said in this stanza. Omzia chu hemi stanza ah chuan hemi khau la a ve tak la naupang ve tak chu ei tur a nei tak lo ah chuan ril tramin a thi mai dawnin a hria ni maw chuan a ngai tuahna ah chuan khatia nipui laia ke kalo awm mai mai lai khanin fanghmir te kha an thei tawp chhuahin an eile in tur te an lo chhek khawl take an kava pan te ang an ni min lo tanpui thei mahna min lo tanpui duh mahna tih kha rilru pu khanin vapan a tum ta ni chuan chu mi inren thiam tak te inren thiam tak fanghmir te chu ei leh bar vadil turin a va kal ta ni chuan awmna tur mikhuala te min lo nei duh takin emaw tlema zawng an ei tur chhek khawl sa te min pek thei nan ril tama ka thi lo nan kavadil chin te ang an lo phalh takin atuka kapele nge nge yang ti te po ka shilanga an lo phalma na ani lo chuanin tiang chuanin ril tramin le lungai takin ka thi mai donin ka hria ati na ni chu okay and so in the next stanza the young cricket finally went to the miserly ants and asked for their help and so the young cricket says the ant to the cricket, I, your servant and friend, but we ants never borrow, we ants never lend. But tell me, dear cricket, did you lay nothing by when the weather was warm? Quoth the cricket, not I. My heart was so light that I sang day and night, for all nature looked gay. You sang, sir, you say? Go, then, says the ant, and dance the winter away. Hemi stanza chuanin khau chu fangmir bula chun avakalta ni. My friend, would you be so kind as to lend me borrow some of your grain? I promise to pay it back. Kachian, turtle mazong min puktir thengem katia mache kapele le nga lang che naktu ka kapele le nga lang che ti khana vadilani. I have nothing to eat. I fear I will die of starvation. Atia. Eng ma itur ka nei silawa ril tramin ka thi mai donin ka shia atini chu. And the ant said, I am your servant and friend, but Mr. Cricket, I'm afraid we ants do not lend or borrow. Chuan fangmir chuanin ichian le ichia hlok ani amai ro chu Mr. Cricket keini fangmir ho hianin tu ma engma kan puk tir emo kan ho tir ngai lo ani alo ti ni. What were you doing when the weather was warm? Ni pui lai khatiang ni borok nom lai takhan enge ilo ti a ti in fangmir chuan khau chu azota khau chuan I was feeling so happy that I sang day and night. Kalim lutuka ni tin jing chun zan lamin kazaya kahun kalo mang kalo khoral liamai maya ti na changani. Did you say you sang, sir? Izai itimo kapu atia fangmir chuan. Go then, go and dance the winter away. Ani chuan kalro keni kan thei to chwa in kan eile bar turte kan lo che khola na kan tho chau lai khanin nang chu zain i lo lam kwal vel mai maya ani chuan tuna chuan ka chan pui thei lo che chu wang chuan kalro he classic khovot hi lam chungin nangma kha in ti tlei lo tum le to zok mai ro ti in annar bauta ni. Thus ending, he hastily lifted the wicket, and out of the door turned the poor little cricket. Folks call this a fable. I'll warrant it true. Some crickets have 4 legs, and some have 2. So, chutia fangmirin alo tran pui du tak lawa chuan ke ni kan thei top choin na kan thoka kan eile bar turte classic atan kan loin enge ma khwa lain nang chu nuam tolin ilo omai me chu wang chuanin kan thora seng chu a thlonin ka pe thei lawang che chu wang chuan kal mai ro atia khau chuan ti ngai na hri si lovin lungai takin khovot hnuaiah chuanin fangmir te in chu a chhuah san le ta ani